Welcome to the Women Faith Plus Business Podcast. I'm your host, Nadine Mullings. I'm an author, speaker, and marketing mentor, and I believe in the importance of women of faith in business stepping up and shining in their lane so they can have the impact, income, and influence they were born to make. Join me this season to hear the stories of powerful women of faith who have authored a collaborative, purpose-driven book to make a difference in the world. And be sure to join the Women Faith Plus business community on Facebook by going to nadinemullings.com/community. See you in the powerful community of women of faith in business, and enjoy this episode of the Women Faith Plus Business Podcast. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Women Faith Plus Business Podcast. I'm super excited every single episode on this season because I get to interview not just one amazing woman of faith, but a panel of amazing women of faith that are doing amazing things in the world. And today I get to interview and chat with the authors of the Women of Wisdom, Honoring Their Grace, Strength, and Beauty book. And this book is a special book because not only is it about telling stories of women of wisdom, but it's also portraits, amazing portraits taken by Donna Edman. So we're going to hear from each and every one of the ladies that are here on the panel today and our visionary author, Donna Edman. I'm just going to read a little bit about your bio, Donna, so people can know who you are. Donna is an award-winning portrait photographer with a passion to honor people. Her ability to engage with clients helps them feel comfortable, and the results of her portraits, which capture their authentic selves. When Donna is not with clients, she is teaching photography to adults and children. She thinks anyone can learn to develop their creative eye. She encourages her students to believe there are things that would be not seen if you didn't photograph them. When she is not creating photos, she's playing with her family, cycling, and creating ceramic art pieces. And occasionally she sits still long enough to watch art films and read. Welcome to the podcast, Donna.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. And we have several women that are featured in the book and have shared their stories in the book. We have Carla, Roya, and Sandra on the podcast today. And I'm going to ask each and every one of you to introduce yourself and let everyone know what you do in the world. So I'm going to start off with Carla. So Carla Jones, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Thank you, Nadine. What a pleasure to be here. Yes, my name is Carla Jones. I live in Fullerton, California. I've lived here for about 30 years. I'm originally from Indiana, and I started my career in my early life as an entertainer and was a professional entertainer for many years. I went into real estate about 25 years ago, and I practice real estate in the North Orange County area. And I am deeply involved in the Women's Club of Fullerton, which is it's a, to use the word, fellowship of women. And we are a sisterhood, and we combine our efforts to help charitable efforts in Fullerton and the surrounding communities, and even as wide as the world. And that's what I do. And I live in Fullerton with my husband and my currently 2-dog pack.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much, Carla, and welcome to the podcast. Next
Thank
up,
you.
next up, we have Sandra Hill. Go ahead and share with the audience, Sandra.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Sandra Hill, and I am glad to be here. I'm so thankful for the invite, thankful to be known as a woman of wisdom. Thank you, Donna. I am a serial entrepreneur. I have several businesses. I have a bookkeeping business. I have a publishing company called Pages of Faith Publishing. And also I have the Book Shepherds, which is a mentorship and coaching program for authors, writers, and business creatives. And I really love helping people come into the fullness of their calling, the fullness of their assignment that they completed all the way and can hear the Lord say, well done, good and faithful servant.
Amen. I love it. That's what I'm longing to hear too. Well done, good and faithful servant, for
Yes.
sure. Welcome to the podcast,
Thank
Sandra.
you.
And Roya, I'm going to feel like I'm going to mess up your last name, so I'll have you go ahead and say your last name. Roya, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, I'm Roya Saberzadeh, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be in Donna's book. I'm so honored that she chose me to be one of those women, be amongst these women. Like Carla, I'm a real estate agent. I live in Fullerton. I am Donna is my good friend and neighbor. You know, we do the walks and stuff, but I moved to the States in 1989, and Fullerton's been home since then. I am a part of a group called Together Women Rise. We get together once a month and, trying to help the women all over the world. At one point, I was involved with the St. Jude Foundation here in Fullerton. And I guess I take the pride to be the mother to my 2 adult children now. But yes, that's what I do.
Awesome, Roya. And where are you from originally? Just curious.
I'm from Iran.
Okay, awesome. I sensed an accent, but I couldn't place it, so I was curious to
Right.
know where it was coming from. So,
Right.
welcome to the podcast, Roya. So, I want to start off by asking Donna. I know on your website that you shared that the book began as an art project to honor over 50 women with custom portraits and to give them a voice. And then you found the women to be so interesting that it developed into a book. So the original intent was a project, and then it ended up developing into a book. What made you decide, okay, I actually want to publish this and make this a full book? What was that journey like to decide, like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I wanted to make it into a book and bigger than just a project?
You know, these women's stories and their advice were just so inspiring to me. And I wanted to share that. I wanted to share these women and their wisdom with others. And a way to do that was with the book and then with the museum exhibit, both.
Awesome. I love that, Donna. So, what was your vision, when you thought about, okay, now I'm going to do this book and we're going to have the museum exhibit? What was that vision that you had for the book and the exhibit?
You know, at first, I thought about this for about 2 years and I couldn't start it because I didn't have all the pieces. I didn't know how to do portions of it. I didn't know how to get it to be a book. I didn't know how to have it displayed in a gallery. And so it just sat. And my friend said, why don't you just start? And it's not my frame of mind to start and let things become a journey. Everything has to be planned and you work a specific plan. So my journey in this project personally has been that it's okay to just start and ask for help. So asking for help also was something that I didn't do because I thought it was a sign of being weak if you're asking for help. And what it had turned out to be once I began to ask for help is that women were so eager to help. And there were actually part of the honoring was they felt honored to be asked to help. So those are the two things that I came away with. But what actually had me start is I just wanted to honor women who are over 50. I don't think we have a platform in general, for women over 50 to give them a voice.
Yeah, so many good things that you just shared, Donna, that I want to highlight. First of all, a lot of times we have an idea and we sit on it. Like Donna said, for years, she sat on it because we don't know the how, right? We just don't know the how. But it's so important to just take that first step, take the first step and then the next step will be revealed and then the next step will be revealed. So don't get caught up in the how. Don't get caught up in the A to Z. If you know A, take A, God will reveal B, then he'll reveal C. You don't need to know the whole plan. So I think that's definitely words of wisdom right there that you shared with anyone that may have something that they've been stuck on or not wanting to put out in the world because they just didn't know how. And then the second piece, I felt like, Donna, you were talking to me because I have so much trouble asking for help. It's crazy. And I think a lot of women can relate to that, is asking for the help. So, in fact, I was reading something recently and it said that in order to be humble, you have to have help. So when you're not asking for help, it's a sign of pride in a way, like you're being a little bit prideful because you feel like you can do it yourself. I think it was in my devotion this morning or yesterday. So it says, when you're humble, you ask for help. So I love that you mentioned that, it was important to ask for help. And then the third thing I wanted to point out that I already feel was words of wisdom you shared, Donna, is at a certain age. So you really focused on this book being 50 and older, correct?
Yes, age 50 and older.
So all the women that are featured are 50 and older. And I feel a lot of times in society, when you reach a certain age as a woman, you're kind of like not seen anymore. It's like you're invisible, right? So to have
Exactly.
this book, that the whole goal of it is really to showcase and to allow women over 50 to be visible through amazing portraits and them sharing their story, was such a godsend. It's such a message that's needed and necessary in the marketplace, for us to really shine the light on women over 50 who have so much wisdom and so much wisdom to share. So I'm super excited that that was what God dropped in your spirit, Donna, in order for you to do that, and why it was so important for the women to be in the project. So I want to ask the co-authors. Oh, I see Donna's back. So I want to ask Donna real quick, how you decided on selecting 49 women. I know you said anyone over 50, but why did you end up with 49 women and not maybe 50 in the book? Just
It would have
curious.
been nice to do 50 over 50, right? And some people have said, why didn't I put myself in the book? That would have made it 50, but I didn't think about that. It was about honoring other people. I actually interviewed or photographed 53, but the ones that were in the book are the ones that provided the text for the book. So they were the ones that provided the advice to their 20-year-old self and a peek into their personal story. So I just had to cut it off at some point, and I cut it off with the 49 that I had. And
Awesome.
another
I
thing I
love it.
wanted to mention is the project started when Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. And it made
Mm,
me think women who are older have a voice if they're famous, and
mhm,
women have a voice if they're young and pretty, right?
mhm,
So,
mhm.
there's so many of us in the middle that
Yep.
don't have a platform for a voice. And so it was her passing and me thinking about that is also part of the kickstart of when I actually started it.
Yeah, was that inspiration for you? I love that. And
Mhm.
it's such an important question, really just sharing words of wisdom to your younger self. Like, what would you share with your younger self? And then also sharing parts of your story, your life story. So I love that that was a part of the book. So I'm going to ask the co-authors, what made you decide to say yes? What made you decide to agree to be a part of the project? Carla, what made you say yes?
Well, first and foremost, I just say yes to anything Donna presents to me. If Donna likes it, then I go, okay, yeah. Yeah, and it was just an intrigue, and of course, it's an honor to be presumed a woman of wisdom. And I thought it was an interesting question. I liked the question that was posed. It wasn't, what would you say to 20-year-old women as advice? It was quite personal. What would you say to yourself at the age of 20? And that makes you go back into time to when you were 20 and the choices you were making, right? And
Yeah.
so everything went for there. It just was an intriguing, uh, it was just an intriguing thing. And I have a lot of respect for anything Donna puts her hands on, because she does quality work in every
Yeah.
way. So I didn't have to second guess it or ponder it at all. So
Yeah, awesome. I love that. It's the influence of Donna, her work and her excellence in the marketplace was an easy yes for the project because of Donna's influence. But also, like Carla said, the question of advice would you give your younger self? Because it really offers you an opportunity of reflection. Like she could have easily said, what advice would you give young women, like Carla said? But when you're thinking about your younger self, you now get to reflect on your life, what you've been through, so it's such a powerful question to ask. What would you share with your younger self? So good, Carla. What about you, Roya? Why did you say yes to the project?
Well, Donna and I were walking one morning. I can remember that very well. And I enjoy and I appreciate my friends now that I'm in my 50s. We talk more freely. I feel like we share more. And then we kind of in talking and communicating, we kind of give advice to each other here or there. And that Donna and I were talking about, and I think I was sharing something about when I had just come to the States and the language and the culture shock. And Donna brought up the idea that I'm thinking of this thing, writing this book, doing this. I'm like, yeah, but my story is not important. What do you want to write? And for her talking to me, and when she presented it and the work that Donna does, I don't like my picture to be taken, especially in my 50s, you know, but the beautiful job that Donna does and the setting she had and writing, and literally thinking back when I was in my 20s, what was going on, you know, what was happening. And I have a daughter, and I'm like, she's in her late 20s at the time. She was like, what would I tell her? What would I tell myself? So that was like, why not? How can I say no to Donna?
Exactly. I love that, Roya. But you brought up 2 points that I feel a lot of women struggle with. Is my story even worth sharing? Right. Sometimes we question the value of our story and everything we go through in life, the lessons that we learn, someone can learn from that too. Someone can find some value in that. So sometimes we need to stop questioning, is my story even worth sharing? And know and step into it is worth sharing. No matter whether it's in a book or on a podcast or on a stage, your story is worth sharing. And then the other thing you said, Roya, that I wanted to highlight was you didn't like being photographed. I think Donna has talked about that before, that a lot of women shy away, especially at a certain age, from being photographed because they're conscious of, the wrinkles or whatever at that certain age. So it was so important to do a project like this so you can get over the fact that, we're beautiful at every age, including wrinkles and gray hairs. Before I popped on this podcast, I was pasting down my gray hair and I was like, whoa, those things are so unmanageable, those gray hairs, right? But we have to be thankful for it, right? We have to be thankful for it and appreciate it. So a portrait really allows you to do that. All right, Sandra Hill, why did you say yes to the project?
Well, I said yes because I appreciate the creativity that Donna carries. And so I liked that it was a photograph and our stories. A lot of times you flip through a magazine and it's a short snippet of someone, but you don't get the fullness of who they are or what they've carried. So I really loved just the whole concept. And she just had a way of making us, even though I wasn't comfortable having my pictures taken, but she just made it so comfortable and just easy. And also, just to feel appreciated by someone being able to share your story, a snippet of it and impart wisdom. That's just great. And I've taken the book and I've given it to several people because they need to hear and they need to know the wisdom that we women over 50 carry. So very thankful.
Exactly. I love that, Sandra. And I love the fact that you said Donna made you comfortable.
Mhm.
Once you're comfortable, it's so easy to do a project, when you
Right.
have that sense of ease and comfort. So I love that she was able to bring that to the table in order to capture these amazing
Yeah.
portraits of these 49 women that were in the book. So I'd love to hear the advice that you shared, like a summary of what was that snippet or advice that you gave, the main thing that you told your 20-year-old self in the book that you can share with the audience. So I'll start with you, Sandra. What was that key advice that you gave your 20-year-old self in the book?
My key piece of advice to my 20-year-old self was to embrace who you are at that age. And for me, it was having chocolate skin, full lips, that was part of the physical part. And then, even if you're smart or, whatever your good traits are, to embrace them, more than and value them at
Yeah,
that
I love
season.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, embrace how God designed you, no matter what
Mhm.
you look like, what your shape is, your
Right.
color. Embrace it. I love that that was a part of the advice that you shared with your younger self. And Roya, what was the advice that you gave?
For me, it was to trust yourself, to trust your instincts, the choices you make. At the time we were talking about it earlier, we are scared to jump in, but trust that you make the right decision at the time. And then what worked for me back then in my 20s was that so many good people come your way. Take their advice, take their help. We were talking about asking for help, ask for help. So it was more of trust yourself first and trust in the people who come your way, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I love that advice. So good. Trust in yourself. Sometimes we doubt ourselves. I struggle with that right now. It's like, whoo, do I even trust myself to get this right? Do I trust myself? That niggling of doubt that we have in the back of our mind. So trusting yourself is so important, and then having the ability to be vulnerable enough to trust others, right? So because sometimes it's about being vulnerable to be able to trust others. So I love that advice, Roya, that you gave to your younger self. Carla, what about you? What advice did you give to your younger self?
Oh, okay. Well, I said trust your gut and pray for the courage to follow your instincts and have faith in yourself and your dreams. When Donna read this, I think publicly to somebody, she laughed when she said this next sentence. She said, I said, date lots of people and enjoy many friendships to learn what you truly value in relationships. And so it just, those were things that I was going through at the age of 20. I was not trusting my gut, so I made choices that I wouldn't have made if I trusted my gut. I don't have regrets about that because I've learned more about myself through my mistakes probably than I have through my, through having done everything right. But that's what I would say to my 20-year-old self is trust your gut and pray for the courage to follow those instincts.
Yeah, I love that, Carla. So good because that internal guide is there for each and every one of us. And sometimes we ignore it. It can be flashing
Yes.
lights and sirens saying, don't go this way, yield. And you're just saying, no, I think I'm going to do it anyways. So trusting is so important. Trusting your gut, trusting your instincts is really key advice to give your younger self. Now, Donna, I know that you didn't actually share as far as your story or your advice to your 20-year-old self. And I feel like I want to put you on the spot and kind of ask you what would that advice have been that you would have said to your younger self? I think especially since producing the book and publishing the book, you probably read a lot of what other people gave advice to themselves. So I'm going to actually pose two questions to you. What would be the advice that you would have given your younger 20-year-old self? And did you see a theme, like of the 49 women that you interviewed and you photographed and took a portrait of? Did you see a theme along the lines of the 49 women? So that will be the two questions I have for you.
Yeah, the advice for my 20-year-old self. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I don't know if anyone else can relate. And so it's just start. Is what I was saying before. Just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. Carla, you said we learn from our mistakes and we move on, and that is so true. So it's what everyone else had said about trusting yourself, but it's just start. Just start, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And then ask for help. Those are the two things that I had mentioned before that would be advice to my 20-year-old self. Just enjoy life a little more and don't be quite so stressed about having everything be right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's good advice. Enjoy life because sometimes, especially when we're in the moment and we're dealing with certain things, we can just take things so seriously. And then we're thinking, like, 5 years ago, why was I so stressed about that? Why was I so worried about that? So don't be so stressed in the moment and learn how to have fun. And of course, ask for help and trust is so important. So what about the theme, Donna? Was there a consistent theme? Did you see like several things popping up for several of the women in the book when it came to the advice that they gave to their 20-year-old self?
Yeah, the main theme was understand your passion and go for it, and the life will work out around it. And then I thought one of the interesting things about being photographed is they were saying as women got older, there was less emphasis on how I look, but what legacy am I leaving to others? Which I thought that was really cool. So when we're in our 50s, we may still be thinking about how we look, right? And what we're going to accomplish with the rest of our work life. when our next chapter of retirement kind of came in for the ladies, it was more, what can I do for my community? You know, what can I do? What kind of legacy can I leave for the people that come up behind me? That neat?
Yeah, I love that. Less about your looks and more about your legacy. That I feel is a quotable. I think that's something that we can definitely quote, that as you age, it's less about your looks and more about the legacy that you are leaving in the world. That is awesome. So if you were to I'll ask the co-authors this, and then also I'll ask Donna. If you were to sum it up in one word, if you could think about one word that you would like to encourage people based on your story, based on the advice that you gave your 20-year-old self, what would that one word, or if you have to make it a phrase, because sometimes it can be difficult to summarize it in one word, what would be that one word that you would like people to take away from your story and what you shared, or that phrase that you would want them to take away from what you shared? So I'll start with Roya. What's that one word or phrase that you'd like people to take away from your story?
I think we hear it over and over. It's trust, whether it's trust in yourself, trust in your family, trust in your people around you, trust in God or fate, just that trust.
Yes, I love it. Trust would be Roya's one word. And then Sandra, what about you? What would be your one?
My phrase is to embrace your uniqueness and to remember that God is into unique. He made us all so different and yet beautiful. And that's what we have to remember, even as we look inward and outward, that God is
Yeah.
into unique.
Yes, embrace your uniqueness. And Carla, what would be that one word or phrase that you would like people to take away from your story in your section?
So the first word that came into my mind when you said that is courage. But I also love the word of trust that Roya shared. So I guess I would say courage and trust.
Yeah, so be courageous in this life and definitely trust the process. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Donna, what is the best way for individuals to purchase the book? And I was thinking as we were going through, it would have been awesome for us to show a couple of the portraits, but we didn't plan that ahead of time. Maybe I can get and I don't know if you're able to share the portraits of the ladies that are on the panel today. Maybe I can put that on the page so people can see their beautiful pictures. Because as I mentioned before, this book is not just about sharing their stories, but it is about the images and the imagery with the portraits and the amazing photography that Donna did in the book. So I do want to showcase that. And since we don't have the ability to showcase it on the call today, and then a lot of people are listening on audio as well, I'll definitely reach out to Donna to showcase those portraits on the page. So if you're looking either on my website, you'll see the actual amazing portraits that Donna took of these amazing women. So we'll make an effort to make sure that's on the page so people can see that. But if they want to purchase the book themselves, to learn the words of wisdom from these 49 amazing women that you featured, what would be the best way for them to purchase the book?
You can go to my website. So it's Donna Edman, EDMAN, photography.com. And then once we're on the website, there's a tab at the top that says the book. So click on the tab and then you'll be brought to a page where it has a description of the book and also a way to purchase it.
Awesome. I love it. So definitely go to Donna's website to get the book. And were you going to say something else,
I
Donna?
was, I have it on my website and not Amazon for a reason. And the reason I have it on my website is that I want to write a personal message in every book that goes out.
Awesome.
So
I love that.
as I'll reach back out to whoever purchased the book because I'll have their email address and I'll ask them who's the book for and is there something special that you would like for me to say as a gift to that person.
Yeah, I love that. And it's definitely a coffee table book. It's not a book that you just want to put on the shelf. You want to have it displayed on the coffee table. Such beautiful artwork, the portraits, the stories. It's definitely something that you want to showcase. So I encourage you. Exactly, right, Carla? So I encourage the listeners, those watching us today, to go ahead and purchase the book. Purchase the book, maybe not even just for yourself, but for words of wisdom for the women in your life. Go ahead and purchase it for a gift as well. So go to Donna's website and purchase that book. And I'd love for the co-authors and Donna to share the best way for people to connect with you. So if they want to learn a little bit more about the work that you do in the world and how you help, what is the best way for them to connect with you? So we'll start with Carla. Carla, can you share with everyone how can people connect with you?
Sure. My web address is cjonesforhomes.com, and that's the letter C, Jones and the number 4,
All
homes.com.
right.
cjonesforhomes.com, and all my other contact information is on there, and I do blog a lot about the Women's Club of Fullerton as well as real estate.
Awesome. Definitely connect with Carla on her website.
Thank you.
And Roya, how do people connect with you, Roy, if they want to learn a little bit more about the work you do?
I have my email and they're more than welcome. As a realtor, they just put Roya Saberzadeh, I come up, and then my email is there, my phone number is there, and on social media, I'm a realtor Roya, so they can reach out to me.
Awesome. So reach out to Roya via email and social media, and you can search for her online. And Sandra, how do people reach out to you?
I have 2 emails for everyone. Sandra at keeptrackbookkeeping.com, and then Sandra at thebookshepherds.com.
Awesome. So reach out to Sandra via email. And last but not least, Donna, if people want to reach out to you, what are the different ways that they can connect with you?
My email address is Donna at DonnaEdmanPhotography.com, the website I gave you earlier. On social media, I have a personal page and 2 work pages, business pages. So my personal page is just Donna Edman. My general photography page is Donna Edman Photography on Facebook. And then I also have DE Commercial Photography as my other Facebook business page.
Awesome. So definitely reach out to Donna through her website, her emails, and on social media. So this has been a pleasure connecting with you guys and talking to you guys about the women of wisdom, honoring their grace, strength, and beauty. Thank you so much for being on the Women, Faith Plus Business podcast. Thank you for listening to the Women, Faith Plus Business podcast. I hope this episode has been insightful and inspiring and has offered you an opportunity to take action to transform your life and your business. Wherever you are listening, be sure to rate and review the podcast, and also subscribe to get the next episode right in your inbox by going to womenfaithandbusiness.com to join our email list.